Very
Good
giving.
morning.
Here we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, there she is. Woohoo.
There I am. Good morning, Dennis. How are you?
I'm excited to be working on my little red sailboat, Amity with the Dutchman
Great.
this morning.
How wonderful. That
Yeah.
sounds like a delightful morning.
I need help. So I'm very
Of course.
thankful.
Well, don't we all? Yeah,
I
here
was
it
going
is.
to ask Al, but I
There's
think
an
Al,
essential truth.
I
We
was
all-
going to ask Al, but I think he's got his hands full.
Al will not assist you in this. No. Al has a set of honeydew projects. And he's very invested. He's very invested and right here would be called This Floor, This Day. He's working on that. But he is definitely available for consults. He loves being able to go, you're not doing that right. Just that I'm teasing. He would be a help if you need it, Dennis. So here we are this morning. I'm Diana Shimkus. This is the Encinitas Mindfulness Community, and I've been asked to start by saying that because I just start talking, and then everybody's going, who is that? How do we find the YouTube? So now you know. Today we have, I think, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 or so people here, even on a foggy morning. That suggests devotion, commitment, because it's easier not to be here, even with Nespresso, even with tea, even with the dog, even with the garden. All these pleasurable or joyful things are not sufficient, by the way, because there's lots of beautiful places, right? There's lots of, and so you got yourself here from something deep. And that depth is something we're going to talk about today, which is how to hold, let's think of some words besides the one we typically use, composure, calm, even-mindedness, even-heartedness, open-heartedness. What would be some other words that we might think of?
Love the word equanimity.
Equanimity is the word frequently used. Serenity, says Stephanie. Welcome, Stephanie. What else?
Balance.
Balance. Yes, Janine. Thank you. What else? The words used in the Buddhist teachings, as the Buddha tended not to name a thing, he tended to say what it wasn't and then left it to you. Like, not this was a lot of his teaching. And so he used a lot of non-words. And so there were words like non-reactivity. Get the idea? Non-clinging. Interesting. We'll talk about that one. Non-clinging. Non-attachment. Non-aversion, right? So you get this idea. And the way it is written, the Pali word for equanimity is upekkha. Upekkha. And upekkha actually means exactly what equanimity means. Equa is equus, or balanced, even, measured, mediated. We could say meditated, maybe even. I'll throw that in, a little commercial. And animus, right? To make alive, to make real, to bring to life, to, right, manifest, right? Isn't it beautiful? Like, the word is so perfect. The other word, Robin, can we get you a seat? There's also a little short beach chair in the back there.
I got that.
Okay, in case you need it. And standing is also good. Aquis animus, even-minded, even-hearted, even-tempered. So that's one of the versions. The other ones I like, are this kind of more Western words like unmovable. Now we're going to get a different sense, right? Imperturbable. Don't you love this? Like unshakable. Right? We're getting that felt sense now. But doesn't mean rigid, uncaring. We're going to talk about how does equanimity feed love, power love, and without it, how it is deficient in a moment, right? Equanimity is actually the essential beginning of the boundless states, the unconditioned, love beyond measure, love beyond condition, kindness beyond, right, family, friends, and tribe, compassion for all beings. And then you can see, let's just stay with compassion for a moment. Since compassion is making contact first with the truth of suffering, this is required for the felt sense of compassion to arise. You can see how easily then, if we're making contact with suffering, feeling for not only ourselves, but those in suffering, you can see how easy, can't you, it would be to fall over into suffering, right? Just like so much. And this happens to us, doesn't it? We go to feed the poor, we go to feed the unsheltered, right? We go to take care of people who don't have clean water or medicine, and then we get flooded with the reality of the suffering. And that's because we have not yet cultivated sufficiently equanimity. You get this idea? With equanimity, then, we are even measured. We understand limit, even in the truth of the boundless heart. You could see the balance there. We understand I could feed this person. I could offer this pause. I could offer this kindness. And in my equanimity, I would see that this is right. This is good. And then beyond, this is good enough. And so we wouldn't fall, would we? We'd say, today, I could take that skillful, loving action today, and equanimity would be at its base. So then, just with the definitions themselves, you're all very wise. How does equanimity power love?
I was just thinking about how it's so easy as an activist or as a, kind of fledgling bodhisattva to kind of feel as if we're never doing enough, kind of take on the weight of the world. Yes. And it's so easy to extend compassion to others in this like sort of false, like almost like maybe it's a very Western view of selflessness, kind of. Yes. But to turn the mirror upon oneself and acknowledge that there's not only like, yes, I'm extending myself to the best of my capacity. Yes. And the best of my capacity doesn't look like the best of your capacity or the best of your capacity or the best of Gandhi's capacity or something.
That's right. That's right.
And so yeah, it's turning self-compassion back into the mix and acknowledging that there is no, I mean, ultimately the compassion that we show the other is the compassion that we show ourselves in an idealized way, and vice versa.
That's right.
It's the self-love.
Yes. Mm-hmm. As an essential part of equanimity, isn't it? So all the love we would extend to all those, and and frequently in the Buddhist tradition, we use words like all beings, like big numbers. And then it says in the sutta itself, the multitudes, just to give you a real good idea about how many that is, or bigger still, the numberless, like on and on and on and on and on, forever and ever and ever. And you go, I don't got it. I don't got that. And in fact, it's not true. You do. You've got it right here in this moment, beginning with what? Oneself in this non-clinging equanimity, meaning self and other. We talked about it last week when we talked about Martin Buber's I Thou, right? And that really, even 2,600 and more years ago, we understood that to only offer love externally would be insufficient and move us beyond means, beyond measure, it's called, and beyond care for self. And then we already know what happens, don't we? We already know. We know compassion, burnout, fatigue. We go, I can't, it's too much, it's too hard. And we lose people to that over functioning idea of only giving to others. And we do the same with ourselves. This is sometimes seen as I just can't anymore. And we close our eyes and we turn the other way. I'm not saying that's not sometimes necessary or skillful, but it's not a permanent strategy, right? Certainly. And it will be also insufficient. And so the Buddhist traditions and other Eastern contemplative traditions for sure talk about resting then in a stable, unmoving, imperturbable, non-reactive, not non-caring. In fact, caring beyond what I even thought was possible, because the thinking isn't the point, the what's here now would be the point. So do we get this idea of why equanimity is often identified as the first boundless state required to power the other boundless states of love, compassion, and sympathetic joy? You couldn't you? Because otherwise, tipping one way or the other, we understand is now limiting, don't we? It's really resting in the open space, resting in that vast heart, mind, without equanimity will certainly get us in trouble. Without equanimity, greed and hatred wiggle in a way that we're going to look at today. I'll just hold that thought. Greed and hatred get a platform. So they say that the near enemy, it's called the near enemy of equanimity. Can anybody imagine? It looks a lot like equanimity, but it doesn't have all the parts. And we call that the near enemy of equanimity. Anybody remember? We've talked about this before. We'll talk about it every day in some way. What might it be?
It's not detachment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indifference, a certain kind of apathy, detachment. Zen students have a little penchant for this, like nothing phases me, and it's grafted on. It doesn't look like that in its reality, does it? It looks like scared, fearful, grief-stricken, but with open-heartedness. I understand this is a part of the existence. This is a part of our human vulnerability, right? This is a part of this human life. And rather than move into fix, back up out of terror, close the eyes, run the other way, take it all on, right? We're talking about all these sides now, aren't we? In equanimity, then we care most. We already said it powers love. Love beyond measure, love beyond self and tribe, love beyond even your idea of it. And so the near enemy is that apathy. We judge ourselves, I think, very harshly in this regard, because we get an idea of equanimity and then we suppress in as a way of getting there. You get this idea, instead of allowing experience, the pain of the loss, the pain of the toe, the pain of the right, experience, we deaden.
So I worked at an ER, so I spent a whole career of numbing. And that's exactly.
Looking like it's going to be okay. But really, how can you? How could you without feeling distress at the distress of the other, the distress of the world, but with equanimity, then
I
going,
didn't have.
no, well, you, who does? We're all working
I'm
on
just
it.
saying, I didn't have it.
Who's got it? I don't, raise your hand, group. Then we'll have a talk. Right. But, right, how to feel with some kind of stable, even mindedness, which means a lot of acceptance, doesn't it? About limits, boundaries, where I really am, what I'm really capable of right now, right? Knowing how things are right now, letting it be right now, not assuming it's for all time and all ways under all, right? And then acting skillfully, right? So that's the near enemy. Healthcare professionals definitely fall into that, because then they go home and yeah. So we understand the reality. And then the far enemy is the other idea with equanimity. You could think about this as maybe something like the opposite. What would the opposite of equanimity be? Full of oneself, needing to be something, self-cherishing.
And blaming too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You did this to
Separate.
yourself. Yeah.
Now we're going into separation. Very reactive. Yeah. Self-cherishing. That's where that comes from. What else?
Extremism.
Extremism of any kind. That's exactly right, Felicia. By the way, you can be nihilistic and be as self-cherishing. Can't you? You just look like you're giving it all away, or right, not the Buddha was very clear, this is no improvement, but the middle way, the balance, that of equanimity. And so we understand the far enemy, because we're kicking the tire. Whoops. Whoops.
You can
Whoops.
hear that new dog.
Come on here. Come on here. Hold on, I'm doing a little training. Can you come? Ah. Get in your seat. Get in your seat. Hold on, group. We're gonna equanimously attend. All the way down. All the way down. Down. Stay. Now you can kick the dog. Right? You can kick the dog. And then what? So equanimity begins in practice with just being able to be with, well, oneself. Right? We don't even like try to figure out how to feed all the, right? We don't get there. We just begin in the practice, the daily practice. How do I begin? By attending wholeheartedly, with a friendliness and that even middle way, and really have to, it's useful then, we're going to practice in a moment, to begin to try to bring equanimity not only to the moments of ease, which we will see in the practice itself, but to the moments of thinking, to the moments of mind wandering, to a moment of thinking I've got it wrong. What would equanimity be in the face of that? To thinking I've got it right. What would equanimity be in the face of that? Down. Right. And then we're going to remind ourselves about the words imperturbable, unshakable, and unmoving, but not non-active. Unmoving is a quality of mind. It is not that I don't do anything. And this can get confused. We can get very confused. We get non-responsive as a misunderstanding. And then we can rationalize it, I think, often, can't we, with, but what difference is it going to make? Right? We all get into that fatigue. Which, so one guy and one hamburger, what difference is it going to make? And we have to be careful, right? That is understood to be just as reactive. In fact, even though it looks quite passive. Okay. Little man's asking for the bell. He knows what the bell means. And so establishing the body. And we establish the body in equipose, some balance in the posture. But we don't end there, some balance in the quality of attention. Some balance then also in the quality of heart. We're going to invite a wholeheartedness, a friendliness, a care. Inclining the mind then towards the sense of the body sitting here. And then setting oneself back by 10 or 20%. Once we get ourselves set, we want to settle back and rest. Letting the body breathe naturally. And then for a moment, we simply call to mind the aspirations for our practice, that we may contribute to the end of suffering and be of benefit to the well-being of those numberless beings, one by one, moment by moment. It's now workable, breath by breath. Feeling the felt sense of the body as it's sitting. Going to do a little gentle, mindful body scan, and we're going to see if we can greet each sensation as it arises and passes. And let's see if we can bring a certain quality of attention, of friendliness, a curiosity, a receptivity, both to each part of the body and then to each sensation. Gathering the felt sense of the breath along with one's attention, joining them right here in the area of the belly. and letting the still mind rest in the movement of the breath. The felt sense of the breath. And then gathering the attention along with the breath, we're going to move the breath and attention down the body into the feet. And just resting the attention there, both for the in breath and the out breath. Feeling the very sensations on the outside, the skin surface of the feet. We are cultivating stability of mind in contact with the feet. The feet might be an area you like or you don't like, or maybe there are sensations. You have a preference for some sensations, maybe don't like others. And we're going to abide them all, both the pleasant, the unpleasant, and even the neutral. Stable, imperturbable mind. Just resting here in the feet. You may notice sensations on the outside or the inside, maybe subtle sensations or subtle energies, abiding them all. And then we're going to move to the area of the legs, letting go of the feet now. We can shift the attention sometimes easily with a nice out breath, just letting go of the feet. And coming to rest in the area of both the left and the right legs, all the way from ankle up to hip. A much larger area. See if we can't hold this part of the body. Without jumping into preference or reactivity or clinging to a particular part. And actually, it's not because we don't do it or we do it. It's because we know this with this quality of even mindedness. We may be drawn to areas of the body we like, or parts, sensations in the body that are slightly distressing. And we're just simply going to practice recognizing that and then opening back to the whole of the legs. That's simple. And with that next out breath, letting go of the legs, coming into the area of the hips, that sense of pressure, weightedness, contact with chair or cushion, clothing, or bone. Breathing around the hips and then directly into the hips. Cultivating that quality of non-preferential attention. And then with the next out breath, letting go of the whole of the lower body, the hips, the legs, the feet. We're going to come to rest now simply in the area of the breath escape. And that's anywhere from that collarbone all the way down to the hip bones, the pubis. We're just going to create a space for the felt sense of the breath in the whole breathscape. Left to right, forward and back, upper and lower, breathing into the whole of the breathscape. Noticing the sensations of the body in their movement, and noticing the quieting mind. And do not mistake equanimity for targeted or over focused attention. That's not what we mean. So if you're noticing the upper region of the breastscape, and then you notice the side region of the breastscape and the holding of the whole breastscape, this is not a failure. That's simply attention. But there is an attitude, a quality of mind that we bring wherever the attention lands, currently right now in the breath scape, and that is with that even mindedness, non preference, non reactivity, opening and abiding it all. And with each breath, we give ourselves a little bit more to the direct experience of the breath. We cling less to the ideas of the breath. Where am I supposed to be? We abandon unnecessary thinking for the direct experience of the breath, however it is in the body. This is the beginning of the non preferencing, short or long, smooth or jagged. We do not cling, we do not run, we do not shut down. We simply breathe, knowing we're breathing. And open. And we still the body on purpose for this practice as a way of inviting that quality of mind and heart as well, unmoving, clear seeing mind, breath by breath. A mind not seduced by the pleasant, nor rejecting, resistant, or averse to the unpleasant. but open, abiding, inhabiting this very breath. We can be stable with body sensations, and then we can expand that even mindedness, that unmoving, imperturbable, and unshakable, clear seeing mind. We can take it on the road. We're going to now open the sense door of hearing, moving beyond simply the body. To include a breathscape that is as wide and vast and open as the sky, spacious. Expanding the lens of our equanimity to include hearing. Sounds to the left and sounds to the right. We will be carried away by sounds if we lock attention on a sound. And so we rest the attention in the vast open space, in that sky-like quality once again, letting sound simply arise in the field of awareness and pass. We may even notice that we're drawn to sounds that are pleasant for us and notice a movement of mind away from sounds that are less pleasant. And in that recognition, we can once again settle back into that vast, open, and spacious ocean of awareness. Letting the waves of sound simply come and go. Expanding the field of awareness once again beyond the body, body sensations, the breath, and sound to now include thoughts. We can form loving, caring, curious, and healthy relationship with thoughts. Resting once again in that vast open space that is imperturbable, unshakable, unmoving, no matter the content of the thought, no matter the number of thoughts, no matter their color, their texture. We can rest and allow thoughts, just like sounds, to appear and disappear. Thoughts about thoughts, thoughts about the birds, thoughts about the mind, thoughts about the practice, mostly thoughts about the self, like getting this right. I'm hopeless. Seeing if we can't simply recognize those also as thoughts. We don't have to get rid of thoughts, and we don't keep them. The mind is stable, calm, and easeful, abiding all thoughts. And then for a moment, we're going to drop beneath the thoughts down into the heart space, creating a space around and within the physical heart. So we don't want to squeeze, just creating an attentional field, inner and outer, breathing into the heart space and out from it. We can check in first then with the physical heart. Just breathing in, noticing sensations there. Lightness, ease, tightness, pinching, burning, numbness. Nothing. It's all fine. And we're going to see if, as we do this heart spaced breathing, we can simply be with whatever is arising here as well. Beginning with the physical heart. Softening the shoulders. Seeing if we can't create a softened body. We're experiencing this heart space as well, one breath at a time. Be watchful of the tendency to go back into the past, possibly grabbing an emotion that is difficult or challenging. We're just trying to be with whatever the heart space is here, physical, emotional, subtle energy right now. All workable right here. You may notice a tendency towards craving or wanting a particular emotion. The other side, of course, would be not wanting a particular emotion or the reality of not being able to connect with anything at all. And we're just going to abide that. No struggle, no resistance, nothing to push away or create. Nothing fixed, nothing permanent. Nothing personal. And yet the mind remains unmoved, unshakable, imperturbable. We let whatever comes come, and we let whatever goes go. And then we're going to expand the container of awareness and this open heartedness as vast, as boundless, as open, as wide as you can, uh, like consuming the whole of space, the sky. And just letting whatever objects arise, arise. Sound as sound, thought as thought, sensation, emotion. And we're going to see that as we rest in that stillness and silence, everything becomes workable. The equanimity has filled the space. Not just the space around you, but your own heart mind. And then we begin to see that with this cultivated equanimity, this crazy, spinning, chaotic world becomes workable. All things greeted. Just this one breath. and then this one. And then we begin to get a sense, though it takes a little time, how your own cultivated equanimity invites ease not only for yourself, but for all things. The people next to you, little man in his bed, and then we also sense that from this place of equanimity, we can respond. We can offer whatever is needed as best we can. May this practice be a benefit to all beings everywhere, without exception, omitting none. May we all have happiness and know the causes of happiness. May we all be free from suffering and its causes. May we rejoice at our good fortune and wish these very blessings for others. May we rest in the vast, wide open arms of equanimity, spacious and vast like the sky, free from greed, hatred, and delusion. And continuing then until all beings are awakened and all are free. May there be peace. Have a equanimous aikido. Yeah. I look at Courtney's smile there. So what do you know about equanimity? Mm-hmm. Yeah, doesn't it? Actually feels good. What else?
We have to constantly catch myself. Just constantly, oh, nope, you're not there, go back.
Not quite. Not quite. Yeah. Can we make that an invitation rather than a demand? Is really the equanimous practice. Oh, noticing not breath, not sensation, not and gently, really, with a lot of tenderness, I think, right? A lot of care, shepherding ourselves back. Because with demand, we're everything but equanimous.
Well, we're judging and critiquing.
Yeah, we're doing something else, except opening to whatever is there, including wandering mind, murderous thoughts, terrified emotion, whatever, barking dog. Not a problem.
Oh, that's true, because I'm just thinking, there's, when I notice myself being judging and kind of angry, not liking where I am or what I'm doing, it's still focused on me and not being open to the other person.
That's right. It's self-clinging.
Yeah,
We're caught in the clinging.
yeah,
The meanness that's got the rightness or the wrongness or the goodness or the badness or the got it going on or the can't get it together, whatever the narrative,
right.
but we're lost in it. And there is no capacity for equanimity first, right? We ultimately have to cultivate a certain stillness, we could say and then we can go towards all those moving objects, these qualities of mind, the judging mind, the hating mind, the terrified mind, inviting really that into that pool well ocean of equanimity. We can't go into it. We all do, don't we? Like, that was too crazy. I've said it myself. Well, it's my mind was crazy in it was true. I couldn't sort it. I wasn't sufficiently resourced, possibly. I didn't have what I needed to navigate that sea. And just knowing that can be so skillful. Like, just get me back to basics. Just get me back to the breath. If I'm getting carried away by sounds, right, or sensation, these proliferating thoughts, come back to something that's more stable for a time. And really what we know is that's very skillful. You come back to the breath or the breath and movement for you, or right, just offering that once again to oneself until, well, I've got the mind now resting in the wave, and then I can expand it just like I did. Right. And didn't we all notice a place where it wasn't so still or quiet or composed or right? It's not the problem, actually.
I also feel the ego.
It does, yeah. Well, that's the good noticing. We see that as dramatically skillful, to notice the nature of the clinging mind, which is going to wreak havoc on our serenity, our equanimity, our ease, right? It's guaranteed. The minute I go into eyeing or youing, got troubles, right? I gotta be, and then you gotta be something, and you gotta change that because I want to be equanimous, and you're wrecking my game, right? Don't we do that with partners? Yeah, Felicia, how are you?
Well, this really helped me. I just have to share this because it's like ironic that this happened simultaneously. So I'm sitting here and I have a very strong aversion to rodents and that type of thing. And that
Little creatures.
yeah, I had them in my roof at one time attic. And so all of a sudden I start hearing something bigger almost than that in it's in my attic, and it was touching on the attic door, and I started thinking, oh my God, it's going to come down. I mean, it was kept doing this while I'm trying to be like focused. And somehow you kept saying the equanimity. I don't know what you were talking about, but I like go back to the breath, feel the legs, like, and I was able to calm myself for the first time ever. My mind wasn't like swirling about this, rat chasing me or something like,
Yes.
and think like it's going to be okay. It's not going to get me like, and
Yeah.
I calmed down.
Yes.
I would say the calming was like unbelievable. So now I'm like kind of not as freaked out. It's just something up there.
Yeah.
It's not going to get me. And
yeah. And then you can take care of it most skillfully. This is the point, really. It isn't just the calm. I mean, it's lovely, but calm is alone just fleeting. Really, it's how can I then act skillfully in the world? I can, not go into distress myself. That's handy. Then I can sort of assess my situation called, I may want to have somebody look, may not best be me. I may want to leave it alone and see if it continue. There's no right now. There's just really, what can I do to stay with and in, and then respond to the experience? And you will do so more skillfully. It's guaranteed from this place of calm. Whatever you decide to do, right? We don't evaluate, we don't instruct or advise, then you need to get the exterminator. And right, this is really diminishing one's own capacity for knowing clearly what there is here, and then how I can skillfully respond. And now you can have some confidence in that, can't you? Because you can feel it. It's going to be okay. We're going to attend to whatever's needed. We don't have to like it. It doesn't mean we have to get rid of preferences, by the way. You don't have to start liking rodents. This is not the practice. You might just notice that you get triggered in some way by them, and then get your own heart mind twizzled around it. And
but
then,
it did give me a sense of safety, I have to say.
yes, it does.
That's all I can say. Maybe
yes, lovely. I don't think there's a better refuge than one's own ease. Where would it be? In fact, I couldn't name it. Could you? Where would it be? Except, well, begin here, right? I was talking about the research that we have around equanimity, very specifically done with the boat people who were fleeing both Haiti and several other war-torn countries. And the research around which boats made it, we'll just start there, who got in versus who didn't, had to do almost consistently with someone being able to navigate with ease. Kind of, we're going to be all right. We're going to all take a breath and settle down. We're going to all hold on. We're going to, gather together and lean to the side. And that in those cases of survival, really directly survival, there was at least one person who made that offering. And consequently, look at the big impact that you can't know, right? You just go, wait a minute, but I'm still here. Can I just be here doing this the best we can, right? Thich Nhat Hanh was so, we were at this talk, by the way, and I'm going to bastardize it, but it was so sweet. I just want to share what he had to say. I won't do it well, but he said, he was talking about equanimity, and he was saying, so I'm here looking at this right hand. And he said, and this is a beautiful hand. And this hand has written many poems. And this hand has helped others out of distress. this hand is, cherished by me. It has offered good things. It's wonderful hand. And he said, but in equanimity, this hand doesn't turn to the left hand and say, how pathetic of you, left hand. You haven't written any poems. You haven't lifted anyone up. You haven't nourished yourself or others. You are a bad hand. Look how simple. And don't we? Yeah. And right, don't we get it? And so then what's the practice? Can we see with equanimity, it's required then, right, to see the goodness, to see the possibility, to see the limitation, we said, even in everything, without then going good, bad, right, wrong, deficient, spectacular. Because if we're doing it to something as simple as a hand, what else are we doing it with? Me and you, right? Good person, bad person, got it going on, got it fucked up, got it, don't we? And then we don't see, is the point of this teaching. The point of equanimity is we cannot see the path, the way, the possibility any longer. We are now lost in the prejudice, the discrimination. Think about it, aren't we? We're lost. And then we go, why can't those people over there get it together? Right? Why can't those Israelis and those Palestinians figure it out? What's the truth? Well, because we can't. We can't navigate right, left. We're all working on this together. And yet we are capable. And that's the part I want us to remember today. We are actually capable, but it requires training, practice, right? Growing capacities, choosing where to place mind, not being just thrown by the worldly winds, they're called, right? Not just being tossed by the worldly winds, because praise and blame, there they are. There they are, right? So easy to be caught in them. Let's look at chat. I'm staring at Courtney, so I'm gonna, besides saying hello, it's so lovely to see you. What do you know about this? You wrote here, creates the open space for love.
It was when you had asked with sitting with equanimity, what it does. And I think there was something that you had said fairly recently about, all of the reading, all of the learning, all of the studying can only bring you so far. It's in the stillness that the answers come. And I think that's what is a good representative to me of equanimity. It's that space that creates the stillness so that there isn't anything to think about. It's the bodhicitta, it's the heart mind that the answers come from.
Directs you then. The wisdom factor comes after equanimity in the factors of enlightenment. As they're named, equanimity is required to get the wisdom, isn't it? Because what can you see if you're all a dither? Right? Nothing but the dither. And then the one you think is dithering, which is usually, that guy.
It's interesting to, like what's going on in the world right now, how easily it is to follow someone who is not with equanimity, which is
Isn't it?
happening all over the
That's right.
world.
That's right. It's easier.
It's just so much easier.
Yeah, the brain stem likes it
Yeah,
more,
like,
because you want to get it right. You want to be right, you want to be on the right one, the one who's righteous. Right. And then, so we have lots of opinions, don't we? The more we proliferate opinion, the more you can often buy into that.
yeah, just
Because you
say
go, well, I was
father.
thinking that too. So you, right, you must be right, because I wanted to kill him also. I was afraid also. I thought just get rid of them too. Right? It's much harder, I think, because now we have to sit with our own distress, don't we? Our own discomfort, our own not knowing, our own don't have the answer yet, Courtney just said, right? And be with that. Well, look what equanimity does there, right? It gives us capacity then, doesn't it? Can I be with my own not knowing, my own distress, my own confusion, my own wanting to take a side, my own just wanting a side, even to join somebody, because being here in what looks like myself is scary and hard, right? We know all this. Yeah, wisdom comes.
Like the gentle side is difficult.
It's much harder, right? And then we have lots of judgments about it, like Dee was saying, right? Boy, I don't have this, but that's not true, because equanimity holds that also. In fact, the science says you can't know wandering mind without still mind. Like, that's like, who's seeing that then, right? There has to be some quality of clear seeing available to even go, I'm a rat. I'm all over the place. And we don't recognize that, because then we identify with the thinker. We identify with the wanderer, right? We, rather than noticing thoughts as thoughts, smiling, coming back into that equipoise, right? Don't we? But there is someone home, noticing, knowing, and naming. You get what I'm saying, everyone? We tend to mistake equanimity for that Zen students, no thought, right? And they are so disconnected from any real experience. They're just in the cave of self. And we've all used our practice that way too. Get me out of here, folks. I did that for about years, and still, throw it on every once in a while. Hide under there. This is where refuge can become escapism. You have to be a little careful. And that's from what? The lack of equanimity. I just can't navigate this. And I think knowing when we can and can't navigate is also skillful, don't you? To go, not before breakfast. Not before I get a little rest. Not before I settle myself a little bit, get in my own body, hang out here a little bit, gather my parts, right? I think that's also beautifully caring and skillful. All right. Thank you, Courtney. It's so wonderful to see you. Creates the open space for love, she says. Yes. Let's see what else we have. Seth says, been meaning to ask this for ages. I never hear the bell. Seth, this is your expertise, not anyone else's. It is set on some setting that we don't know that doesn't pick up ambient sound, is somehow set to only get like voices. So when you can figure that out, as I know you can, let me know, and we will get the bell back. Because
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
What I've been doing lately is just hold the bell up in the camera. Then people can see it.
There you go. So you can at least see the bell. Yeah. And maybe if the camera sees the bell, it'll open to hearing it.
You never know.
I can't say, with AI now, I might simply, that would be helpful. Yes, we will do our best. We will do our best. Bell or no bell, there is the possibility, and I think this is most important this morning. There is the possibility for cultivating equanimity And I think it's fairly unreasonable to then shoot for in every moment under all conditions. Seems like run a marathon, you didn't, but I think we could say in just this one moment, or in just this one breath, or I could simply take a pause here just for that, for the sake of that, and know something about how I am. I want to read something. I don't know what time it is, so I want to be watchful. I want to read this. This is from the suttas itself, and then we'll end. Equanimity is described in the suttas as a quality of mind that is in equipoise. And here's those words: neither drawn to what entices, nor shunning what is painful or disgusting, but balanced evenly amidst all things. It is the perspective that allows us to open to the fullness of this human life. The pain in the knee as much as the songbird outside. The beautiful thought of inspired insight as much as the ugly realization of personal shortcomings, while holding it all with a selfless, mindful, wholehearted awareness. Selfless does not mean no self. It simply means not only self. Doesn't mean you can't hold you too. All right, we're going to sit together for 1 minute so I can practice for Seth holding the bell up. And so gathering that calm, that serenity, that non-self clinging, non-other aversing, just finding the body and then the breath. May we dedicate this practice and all practice throughout all time to the end of distress, harm, and pain, and to the cultivation of true happiness, true compassion, true wisdom, and love. And may it be so this very day, making it a very good day. So be it. Thank you all. Thank you for your practice, your presence, your equanimity, and your noticing when you're not so equanimous. It's all good news. Thank you all. Thank you. Lovely to have you here. Jean, so lovely to have you. Stephanie, so lovely to have you. Good to see everyone. We will be on for Tuesday morning at 7:30. Chapter, I think we're on chapter 23. I'll let you know. Greg, are you not going to be here Thursday?
No, I'm here Thursday.
You are. I got to cancel on the calendar. So you will be here Thursday at 7?
I will be, yes.
Yay. Wonderful. And we will be back in the garden next week at 7:30. It feels like a cool, cloudy day so far. We'll see how it goes. Stay warm, everyone. Yes, you're so welcome, Joyce. Good to see you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Yes.
Thank you, Dee. Thank
You're
you.
so welcome, Graciela. Thank you. Be well, everyone.